a record that has stood for 44 years, a lifetime in the world of professional sports, is about to be completely obliterated. This isn't a record about speed or power, but one of pure, unyielding endurance. And the person breaking it? Not some new age prodigy, but a living legend who first stepped onto this very stage before many of today's top players were even born. We are talking about the one, the only, Venus Williams. At 45 years old, an age when most of her peers have long since transitioned to the commentary booth or coaching, she has just been handed a wild card to play singles at the US Open. This monumental decision makes her the oldest competitor in the event since 1981, shattering a barrier of time and expectation. This isn't just a comeback, it's a history-making, age-defying statement that has sent shockwaves through the entire tennis world. So, what does this incredible return truly signify for her legacy and the sport itself? How did a grueling 2-year absence due to major surgery transform into one of the most anticipated moments of the tournament? And what does the Queen of the Court herself have to say about her future in the game she helped redefine? Today, we are breaking down the entire incredible story of Venus Williams' return to Flushing Meadows. We'll explore the historic 44-year-old record she's about to break, relive the iconic moments that made her a global superstar, and analyze whether this is a final, glorious farewell tour or the start of an unbelievable new chapter in an already legendary career. Prepare to be inspired. To truly grasp the colossal magnitude of this moment, we have to journey back in time. Rewind the clock past the social media era, past the smartphone revolution, all the way back to 1997. A 17-year-old Venus Williams, with colorful beads in her hair that clicked with every powerful swing, and an unshakable fire in her eyes, stormed onto the hallowed grounds of the US Open. She wasn't just another player in the draw, she was a cultural and sporting phenomenon. In her debut appearance, she blazed a trail all the way to the final, a feat that immediately announced the arrival of a new, dominant force in women's tennis. That was just the prologue. The turn of the millennium belonged to her. She conquered New York, claiming back-to-back US Open titles in the years 2000 and 2001, with a brand of tennis that was simply breathtaking. Her serve was a weapon of mass destruction. Her reach at the net was unparalleled, and her raw athleticism set a new standard for a generation to follow. Alongside her 4 Wimbledon crowns, these victories cemented her status not just as a champion, but as tennis royalty. Together with her sister Serena, she didn't just win matches, she changed the game forever. This wasn't a subtle evolution, it was a seismic shift, a revolution on a global scale. Before Venus and Serena, women's tennis was often a game of finesse, of long rallies built on consistency and precision. The Williams sisters arrived with a blueprint for a new era, the era of overwhelming, unapologetic power. Their serves weren't just for starting the point, they were weapons, routinely clocking speeds that rivaled many male players. Their ground strokes were thunderous, hit with an open stance that generated unprecedented force, pushing opponents deep behind the baseline and dictating the flow of every single rally. They introduced a level of athletic physicality that the tour had never seen before, covering the court with a combination of speed and strength that was simply indefensible for many of their rivals. But their revolution extended far beyond the strategy of the game. They shattered the conservative, often monolithic aesthetic of professional tennis. Venus, with her bold fashion choices, her forward-thinking designs from her own brand, 11, turned the court into a runway, expressing her personality and individuality in a way that was both captivating and controversial at the time. They proved that athletes could be entrepreneurs, global brands, and outspoken advocates, paving the way for the modern athlete as mogul. Most importantly, they broke down demographic barriers, bringing the sport to millions of new fans and inspiring countless young girls, especially girls of color from communities that had long been underrepresented, to pick up a racket and believe that they too could conquer the world. Even as the years went by, her competitive fire never waned. As recently as 2017, at an age when many are considered veterans, she staged one of the most remarkable resurgences in tennis history, reaching the finals of both the Australian Open and Wimbledon, and making a deep run to the semifinals right here in New York. She has been a constant presence, a benchmark of excellence, for nearly 3 decades of professional tennis. But the path of any legend, especially one with such longevity, is inevitably paved with adversity. The last few years have presented Venus with some of her toughest challenges yet. Her last singles appearance at the US Open was way back in 2021. Since then, the electric atmosphere of Flushing Meadows has been missing one of its most iconic figures. A persistent series of injuries, the kind that nag and wear down even the most resilient athletes, finally culminated in a necessary surgery. That procedure sidelined her completely, forcing her to miss the last 2 editions of the tournament. For any athlete, let alone one in their mid-40s, such a long and arduous layoff would almost certainly signal the end of a career. The physical recovery is a monumental task in itself, but the challenge of regaining match sharpness, the split-second timing, and the mental fortitude required to compete at the absolute highest level is a mountain that few can or would even attempt to climb. The tennis world watched and waited, with many assuming the inevitable. Whispers of a quiet retirement grew louder with each passing month. It seemed as though the final chapter of her on-court story had been written by circumstance, not by her own choice. This is precisely what makes her return so profoundly powerful. It's not just about playing one more tournament. It's a testament to her unbreakable spirit. It is a defiant refusal to let injuries or the number on her birth certificate dictate the end of her story. And we must not forget, this is the same spirit that saw her face down a challenge far more daunting than any opponent across the net, a career-threatening diagnosis of Sjogren's syndrome. This is an insidious autoimmune disease that causes debilitating chronic fatigue and severe joint pain, symptoms that are the absolute antithesis of what a professional athlete needs. Many believed it would be the silent end to her career. But instead of surrendering, Venus staged one of the most remarkable comebacks in sports history. She became a student of her own body, completely reinventing her diet, adopting a raw vegan lifestyle, and meticulously restructuring her training regimen to manage the condition. She didn't just learn to live with it, she learned to dominate in spite of it, climbing back into the top echelons of the sport. The recent surgery and this 2-year-long road back is just the latest, and perhaps greatest, chapter in her long history of extraordinary defiance against odds that would have crushed a lesser spirit. And now, the very act of stepping onto the court will see Venus etch her name into the history books in a completely new and profound way. Her entry officially makes her the oldest player to compete in a US Open singles event since 1981. Let that number sink in. For 44 years, that record has belonged to the remarkable Renee Richards, who played at the age of 47. Richards' own story was one of incredible courage and perseverance as a pioneer for transgender athletes. And now, Venus joins her in this exclusive club of athletes who utterly defied the conventional timelines of a sporting career. To put this time frame into perspective, when Renee Richards set that record in 1981, Venus Williams was just a 1-year-old baby. The world was a fundamentally different place. The fact that Venus is now the one to eclipse that mark speaks volumes about her incredible longevity, her unwavering dedication, and the advancements in sports science she has embraced. But this is not a ceremonial appearance designed for a standing ovation and a quick exit. Venus is coming back to compete, and she has already fired a significant warning shot. Just recently, at the DC Open in Washington, she turned back the clock to become the oldest player to win a WTA singles match since 2004. The player she dispatched? Peyton Stearns, a talented and hungry young opponent who is 23 years her junior. That victory wasn't just a nostalgic moment, it was a tactical and physical statement. It proved that the strategic genius, the pinpoint shot making, and the sheer will to win are all still burning brightly within her. The last player to achieve a singles win at such an advanced stage of her career was another all-time great, the legendary Martina Navratilova, who secured a victory at 47. When your name is being mentioned in the same breath as trailblazers like Richards and legends like Navratilova, you know you are witnessing something truly transcendent. If you're as inspired by this incredible display of dedication as we are, do us a favor and hit that like button to show some love for the living legend, Venus Williams. So what is the internal fire that drives Venus Williams to push her body to its absolute limits and return to the pressure cooker of a Grand Slam tournament? Is this a carefully planned farewell tour, a final opportunity to soak in the adulation of the New York crowd she has thrilled for decades? Or is there something more profound at play? Her own words, spoken recently, offer a fascinating and revealing glimpse into the mind of a true champion. After her triumphant win in Washington, the media inevitably pressed her about her future, about the ever-present question of retirement. Her response was perfectly Venus, composed, intensely focused, and characteristically ambiguous. She said, "I'm just here for now, and who knows, maybe there's more. But at the moment, I'm focused just on this. I haven't played in a year. There is no doubt I can play tennis, but coming back to matches takes time. I definitely feel I'll play well. I'm still the same player." Let's dissect that statement, because every word is chosen with purpose. I'm just here for now. This is not the language of someone on a pre-planned goodbye journey. It's the mantra of a competitor who lives in the present moment, focusing all her energy on the immediate task at hand. The phrase, "maybe there's more," is deliberately tantalizing. It's a calculated choice to keep the door to the future wide open, to firmly reject any external narrative that this is the definitive end. She acknowledges the monumental challenge, stating that coming back to matches takes time, which demonstrates her realism and deep experience. But the most powerful and revealing part of her statement is the final, declarative line, "I'm still the same player." This is the core of her unshakable self-belief. Despite the long layoff, despite the surgery, despite the number on her birth certificate, she fundamentally believes that the champion within her remains unchanged and undiminished. It's a quiet, fierce confidence that has been forged over thousands of hours on the practice court and in the intense crucible of 7 Grand Slam singles finals victories. She isn't here for nostalgia. She is here because she believes she can still compete, that she can still play the brand of powerful, intelligent tennis that made her a global icon. And what about the players standing on the other side of the net? For the new generation of stars, many of whom were not even alive when Venus made her US Open debut, drawing her in the first round is a complex and daunting proposition. On one hand, it's a chance to play a living legend, a pinch-me moment to share the court with an idol. On the other, it's a terrifying psychological test. You're not just playing a 45-year-old athlete, you're playing the aura of Venus Williams. You're playing against decades of experience, against 7 Grand Slam titles, against a champion who has seen and conquered every conceivable high-pressure situation. There's the risk of being overawed by the occasion, and the equal risk of the immense pressure of being the player who is expected to win against a much older opponent. A loss to Venus Williams in 2024 isn't just a loss, it's a headline. This psychological edge, this champion's mystique, is an intangible weapon in Venus's arsenal that can level the playing field against younger, faster opponents. Her experience is her secret weapon, an invaluable asset that cannot be measured by any statistic. She understands the unique rhythms of a 2-week Grand Slam tournament better than almost anyone in the entire draw. She knows how to manage her physical energy, how to handle the immense psychological pressure, and how to navigate the pivotal moments of a high-stakes match. Far more than any potential result, her mere presence elevates the entire tournament. It provides a powerful, central narrative of resilience and a living connection to a golden era of tennis. Every point she plays will be met with thunderous cheers, every winner celebrated with passion, and every moment cherished by fans who grew up idolizing her. This comeback is a gift to the sport. To make sure you don't miss our match-by-match analysis of her US Open performance and other deep dives into the world of sports, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Ultimately, Venus Williams' return to the US Open is a story that resonates far beyond the white lines of the tennis court. It's a universally inspiring story about passion, about the stubborn refusal to be defined by age, by injury, or by the expectations of others. It's a powerful reminder that the heart of a true champion never stops beating, that the drive to compete can outlast any physical limitation. 28 years after she first arrived as a revolutionary teenage prodigy, she returns as a living legend, an elder stateswoman of the sport and a history maker in a brand new way. She isn't just playing for another title. She's playing for everyone who has ever been told they were too old, that their time was up, that they should gracefully step aside. Whether she wins one match or orchestrates an improbable, magical run deep into the second week, her presence alone is a victory for the human spirit. She is, as she so powerfully said herself, still the same player. And we, the fans, are all incredibly lucky to get to watch her play again. The stage is set, the New York lights are on, and a queen is returning to her court. Flushing Meadows, get ready.